Hi, this is David. No, the Danites have not gotten me yet. I was hiding under the table for days. They were knocking at the door. I could see them. Anyway, I wanted to do a video here. I did it, and my 9-year-old went to Filipino prison because she pushed buttons and she lost it. So here it goes again. I'm not even going to look it up. You can look it up yourself. Here's the story, okay? And I've told you over and over and over again, especially if you're LDS, don't go to counseling approved by the Mormon Church. LDS Social Services is one of the big ones that you get to go to for free, but you get what you pay for over there. As a counselor, I've got a master's degree in college teaching, so I can teach any of the human services, and I certainly have been a counselor, not a professional. I've never been licensed as a counselor, but I have run as a director residential treatment centers and certainly have interviewed many, many kids and many, many adults. And I do have a post 28 graduate credits in psychological services. So I have some experience and I have some education. Now let me tell you, I've told you over and over again, but half of you don't believe me. You're Mormons, you just do what you want anyway. So this is just mental masturbation. So anyway, when you choose to have counseling, many times your girlfriend or your best friend, guy, you can sit down and talk with them and kind of bare your soul to a certain extent. And that does some good. That does some good, especially if you're suicidal. That kind of talking can be very good. If the problems are fairly deeply rooted, like in childhood or trauma, like rape or, I was going to say murder, but you don't need a lot of counseling if you've been murdered. And it's free. The guy just stands over your grave and talks to you. Maybe I should do graveside counseling. Hey, it pays good and no one talks back to me. Get a real counselor. You're going to want somebody that has been out of school probably 15 years, where they've got a lot of counseling under their belt. So you're going to want, a 28, 30, 35-year-old counselor. They're coming out of school with the greatest amount of current education, and they've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people. Maybe some of them have done some testing, and you can see the psychologists do the testing, and that helps. I did a test at BYU. They thought I was crazy at BYU, but they tried to prove it, and I slipped through the cracks and did get a degree. I think I put this on another video somewhere, but I was pissed at BYU and security. And let me tell you something. When you're pissed at Mormons, this is what you do. Yes. Yes. You bow your head and say yes, or your ass is grass. In the Mormon Church. So I put BYU security, go to hell, on my 56 Chevy, on the side doors, the trunk, and the hood, and I drove it up by the Marriott Center there, and where Hinckley has his own alumni house. I'm surprised Hinckley didn't put all of his name on every building up there. But anyway, they didn't catch me up there. I drove very fast, but people were cheering, and people were holding up signs. And so I went back to the dorm. I lived in Chipman Hall up there, I think on the second floor. And it wasn't long. It couldn't have been 4 minutes. And I hear... Now, I didn't need to look through the door to see who it was. Here's these two BYU security officers, and they only had one question and then one statement. They said, "Is that your 56 Chevy downstairs?" And I said, "Yes, sir, it is." He says, "You come with us." Jeez. So I'm stupid. I'm just like a freshman. I might have been a sophomore, but probably a freshman. So I had to go over to academic standards. Now that is the parole board by one man. So he said to me, what's your side of the story? I told him, and of course in the Mormon hierarchy. Your side of the story doesn't mean shit. All they do is they use it for the due process. The decision has already been made. So he said to me, hey, we need to kick you out of BYU. And I said, hey, that's kind of, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. He says, all right, we think there's something wrong with you. I said, get in line. Get in line. He goes, no, this is not a joke. You're going to take, I think it's the MMPI test, and or you're going to go home. Well, I didn't want to face my parents, and I probably needed a degree because I was stupid as hell. So I said, okay, I'll take the MMPI. So he puts me in this little room, and it has like 500 questions on it. It takes about an hour to do this test if you're fast. Well, I was fast because it said true, false, does not apply. I answered 500 questions, does not apply. Now, this is an expensive test. They pay $300 for, I don't know, $100 for this test to be administered and graded to see how crazy you are. So I turned it in, and he took it, and he called me back in 2 or 3 days later, and I'm sitting across the desk from him, and he says, I got your test back. Well, it's all I could do to just not laugh my ass off the chair. Because he could have looked at it before he ever put it in and see what the score was going to be. And I said, yes, sir. And of course, I'm just bowing my head and saying yes, because I did what he said. I took the test, but nothing applied. How often I wanted to have sex with my mother did not apply. How often I wanted to have sex with the BYU girls, I didn't have a number big enough for that one, so it does not apply. But anyway, he looks across the table and he says, this was a waste of time and money. And I said, well, sir, all the things you've said, I think of all the things you've said, that's probably the most truth. So he made me write a proposal how to reform the BYU judicial system. I was complaining that you had to pay to see a judge. That's the Mormon way. But the American way is you see the judge first, and then he decides if you have a fine. Well, I wrote the paper, and I don't know if I had anything to do with it, but the BYU security and judicial system did change. So now you see the judge, and now you get the fine. And if you see a Mormon judge, it made no difference in the BYU security system. You were guilty and you were going to get a fine, but they were going to follow the Constitution and put the judge up there and make it look like he's going to listen to your side. Well, I've been in counseling. I've been in maybe 4 or 5 times. And I've had everything from, I've had 2 psychiatrists, and I've had 1 psychologist. And I've had 3 or 4 MSWs, and they're all in a mental institution. No, they're not. They put me in a mental institution. No, I had good people. Somewhere in California, 1 or 2 were here in Provo and Salt Lake area. And my best doctor down in Provo, he worked for Duke University. He had the credentials up the kazoo. Very handsome man. His daughters were his secretaries in the office, beautiful girls. And he helped, he helped. He looked at medications and gave me half of what's on the Walmart generic list. Didn't do any good at all. But anyway, I went there 4, 5, 8 times and paid my money and everything. Well, I called down there not too long ago, maybe a year ago, and he doesn't answer his phone. And my son, the ass, he said, well, Dad, maybe he got caller ID. He doesn't want you anymore. Oh, my kids. No wonder. They carry my genes. And anyway, I found out that he was, his license was revoked. I can't remember the reason. It seems like it was some kind of a financial scam, and or he was screwing one of the clients. Not me. Not me. I was too ugly. But anyway, he's not there anymore. So he was a good counselor. Those of you that are thinking of counseling, for God's sakes, get Your choice, male, female. Now, I like female counseling better because when I tell them my story, they cry. They go, "You're pathetic. I can't help you no matter." And then I beg. And then they go, "Okay, I'll try to save a stray dog." And so I go to female doctors and I go to female counselors. And I had one in Ojai, California, and oh God, she was good. She was really, really good, and I appreciated her. And then I went to a psychiatrist in Ojai, California, and his first question, I wrote out the history and everything. I've been bipolar like 15 years. And he wrote to me, or he said to me in the first interview, he said, "Has bipolar mental disorder disrupted your life at all?" I go look at him and I go, "Jesus, are you a psychiatrist or are you just a F idiot?" I got up at that moment and I walked out. Well, that was 5 divorces. When I went in there, and oh my God, 92 jobs, and he asked that question. Well, he went down the road. And then I've had 2 or 3 others. I've had 2 in Utah that have been pretty good, to tell you the truth. Up in the Ogden area, the behavioral health up there. But anyway, what I'm trying to say to the world is don't go to LDS approved or social services. You are going to get screwed eventually. You're not going to be able to talk to them about abortion. You're not going to be able to reasonably talk to them about sexual activity between a husband and wife, or, oh my God, what if you're single? Don't go in there. Gender issues, gay issues, anything that is something they haven't heard about, they're going to screw up on. You want to go to a counselor that, like I said, has been out of school 10 or 15 years, has got hundreds of people under their belt. They've seen it all. They've heard it all. And whatever you say to them, they're not going to say, "Oh my God." when I was having heart surgery, quad bypass, and the doctor looked in there, he goes, "Oh my God." I said, "Is that a good sign?" He goes, "No, it's not." So anyway, if you get a counselor that says, "Oh my God," it goes, "I've never heard of this," get off the chair, pay them half what you owe, and walk out of there. Well, like I said, I've done a lot of counseling, and you hear it all. You hear it all. I don't care if it's fire setters or gay or gender or cross-dressers, sexual problems. Geez, you go through the whole array if you're an experienced counselor. The reason that I'm doing this tape is someone didn't listen to my video, and the bishop was counseling the husband and the wife. And the bishop felt that maybe the subject was too deep for him. I'm not sure that was his whole motivation, because he referred them to a counseling clinic that his brother owned and operated. There's no conflict of interest, not in a Mormon. They're going to spin it. It was the best counselor, and they had the cheapest price. Well, again, you get what you pay for. And the brother's wife was doing the counseling, and I think she had a license because it wasn't revoked, it was suspended. So she's talking to this couple, and the man revealed, let me think now what the subject, see, it's like changing diapers in a daycare center. After you've changed 10,000, you don't remember whose diaper is whose. He admitted that he, I think, was gay, and he had a wife. Well, the counselor did the unbelievable. In any state, she would have had her license revoked. She reported it to BYU and to his bishop and stake president. Well, that's a breach of confidentiality that anyone that's a counselor knows you never, never divulge those things. And she did. And he got excommunicated from the Mormon Church, and he got kicked out of BYU. Well, the shit hit the fan, and it went round and round. and found that she had lied, that she had taken a couple of statements that he had made and extrapolated on him and expanded them, and caused him excommunication and leaving BYU, his education. So anyway, I had it all documented, and if you don't believe me, slap my 9-year-old. She was the one that erased it, and I hate that. But anyway, if you're going to get counseling, and I know a lot of you that watch me, I don't encourage you to leave the Mormon Church. I don't encourage you to put your head in a furnace. I just simply tell you my experience. If you don't have the same experience, thank God. I did, and I'm not going to get up here and lie, and you can check all my videos. They're documented, except this one. I'm going to kill her. So anyway, you can look it up. Don't get an LDS counselor. Don't go to LDS social services. Don't go to somebody whose brother started a clinic and the bishop is referring everybody over. The brother is charging $120 an hour and kicking the bishop back $25. So don't do that. It will ruin your life. It'll make you feel more like dog shit because these people don't know what they're doing. And don't go to counselors that tell you what you need to do. My experience in counseling is you can't teach human beings anything. They're going to do what they damn well please, no matter if they get up and cheer and the Pele Ale. It doesn't matter. They're still going to get life out of their own eyes. But if you get a counselor you're comfortable with and that you can say anything to and know that your private information is sacred and secret, and you're able to talk. And a lot of times a counselor will help you set goals. You set the goals, and then the counselor kind of monitors and reminds you. And a lot of times a counselor will let you counsel yourself out of most of the difficulties. So you don't go to a counselor for, the Mecca and the Wizard of Oz going to tell you how to live your life. You're going to have to figure out how to live your life. And sometimes you just need another qualified person that can help you come up with other ideas and alternatives to jumping off of a bridge. But if you get an LDS counselor, you're probably going to jump off of a bridge eventually. Thanks.